Right, let's go. Right, let's wander this way. So what do you need? Like, just have you got a level on the mic? And is it all working all right? Lovely. So we just take a little wander through Croydon, innit? Well, I think we'll walk down the market, and you get the atmosphere of the market. It'll be closing up about this time as well, so it's quite lively in that. The record shop's just at the end of the market, or where it used to be. We'll come back up round and I'll show you the club where we tried to put a night on Filthy Dub. And we had like, their lineup was like me, N-Type, Mark 1, Hatcher, Slimzy. We had Skream and Benga. We were the first people to book Skream and Benga, first people to book Loafer. It was like a good night, like it was a really good turnout considering like the time that we did it. It was still relatively new sound. And other than Forward, there weren't any other nights really that were pushing the music. You know about it if you got hit by one of them. We'll walk through the long way of the Surrey Street Market. Yeah, see, this is like old school Croydon. It's still there. It's still hanging in there. Down this road here, there's a club called, well, it used to be called the Ananda Lounge. It's now called Granaries. And Hatcher used to be a resident there back in the day, like in the old garage days. This is where Big Apple used to be. It's now Mixing Records. We'll pop in and say hello quickly. You right, Jay? Why do my tunes never come out? Still like a good place to bump into people who are doing like thing. That's kind of like how I met everyone really. This club across the road, 1921, is where we put on a night. When it first opened, this is where we did it. There was an unclothed officer came in and he didn't like the amount of men that were in there. He thought it was going to kick off. I was like, it's not going to kick off. Everyone kind of knows each other. They're just listening to music. He said, yeah, but everyone's just standing around. I was like, back then, the dubstep raves used to be kind of like that. It used to just be, people were just listening to the music, kind of listening out for new tracks and that. But eventually I went in there, found a reason to shut it down. Like, they just kind of picked one person, I won't say it was, got him outside, accused him of dealing drugs on the venue, put a kneeling on his back there, arrested him, carted him off, took him to the station, shut the night down, and then got him to the station and they couldn't prove that he'd been doing anything or he had no drugs on him, nothing. It was mad, like. It's just a shame really, like, that there's not more that I could show you, because there should be really, like, the fact that dubstep came from here, I should be able to point out so many different places, things going on there, but Croydon's never really been supportive of what we've been doing really, I don't think. There you are, actually the Black Sheep Bar. Digital Mystics put on a night here on a Sunday. It used to be called Dub Sessions before they did the DMZ night. We're just putting on a little night tonight to get everyone together. Christmas time. Let me in, baby. Hello. Sword.
I'm fucking freezing, mate. Who's left the door open? I've been in the game for fucking quite a while, man. The main focus of coming to Croydon is because of the record shop Big Apple from back in the day.
Yo, big up the Big Apple, yeah? Dirty Dog, straight from east to east Croydon. Trust me, it's real. That's where I'm on my way now.
That's how I met all these boys, like Plastic, like Hatcher, Hijack, Skream, Benga, like Chef, everyone you know, Walshy. Like we all sort of went to the same record shop.
Okay, now you have it. The Big Apple, 37 Surrey Street, Croydon, East Croydon. It's real. You can find your latest garage down there, the freshest material from Jammer, Boys in the Hood, Nasty Crew, everyone.
It was like a kind of community really, like back in the day, you know what I mean? It was a place where you just go and chill out and buy records and just see what was going on. It was just joke down there, you know what I mean?
First time I went off into the listening bit, and it was like car chairs, but like you're doing a little private booth thing.
Oh yeah.
So it was like real kind of like, whoa, like weird, do you know what I mean? But then like you had to work your privilege up because there was like the private room, which you could listen to music loud and no one else could, and like you had to get the key, and like there was like a stage of working your way up to getting the key, and it was like once you had the key, the room key, it was like everything went on in the room.
Yo, okay, another thing about the Big Apple. When you come upstairs, you see all the young youths, them listening to the freshest stuff from Dirty Dogs, Boys in the Hood, Men in the Street, Roll Deep, Nasty, Beer East Man, Sat Man, SMS Man, them, the Wall Man, them. You find your freshest stuff here, Big Apple upstairs, you come upstairs to listen to it, it's all good.
I guess the one thing that hangs the whole thing together, the axis, if you like, around which the whole of this sound revolves, is just an absolute love of sub-bass.
When people always ask about the whole bass concept, for me it was just that Big Apple had a massive pair of Jamos in. Velvet Rooms had a good system and Plastic People had a good system, so you weren't really used to nothing much else. So you just got it to get your basses. You just wanted it to rumble the club. Even before I sort of learned about EQing and stuff, it was still fucking just whack it up.
Dubstep back in the day was two-step, for those people that don't know, and the drum patterns are kind of like broken beat, yeah? Really minimal broken beat, and...
Basses were like underground garage.
Yeah, there you go.
Would either been raggage or dubstep. I know it worked, there was a term with raggage that described the horsepower stuff for a little while. I'm quite glad it was dubstep, do you know what I mean?
I lied, raggage is good, isn't it?
Raggage. It sounds like a fucking disease, man. But yeah, no, it just... Yeah, really, trying to create someone else's sound, but people who had sort of like £4,000 studios or whatever, we didn't, and it just sort of all stemmed from there. Really, you haven't got the same equipment to make the noises. You just got to use what you got.
I started off trying to make songs like Wookie.
I was trying to do stuff like LB,
and you just got it wrong. But then Artworks was like, you need to keep on going down that route because you're gonna start something else. And we were just like, all right, we'll keep going down that route, but we was going down that route because we still couldn't make tunes, innit, remember?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Let me grab it.
No, this is my idea. This is my plan. Now it rings. Nah, it don't.
A mixer under the desk if it will fit. Do we have power? Do we have signal? Hey. Check. No, this has gone off. Oh, it's this fucking thing, man. It's going into you, but you're not going anywhere. It's fucking bizarre. Check. Yes.
Right. What we're doing with regards to samples and things.
Cool. This is one man.
I'm not ready yet.
That's all right. Ready?
No.
You just tap me on the shoulder. We'll get some kind of system running.
I can't work out why it's not saving the samples though from last time.
Maybe the memory's just got old and can't remember anymore.
Hello, this is Logan and I'm not listening to Boom Noise and Pokes on Sub FM because it's rubbish.
Shit, it's really quiet.
Woo! That wasn't. It does work then.
Check. Yes, it does.
Sounds of the Boom Noise and Poke Show on Sub FM.
At subfm.com.
Every other Wednesday. We are
Sounding alright. How many guineas?
I'm not doing a crate.
Do we get sponsorship deal for the pizza?
Yeah. Pizza Go-Go, sponsors. No, because we'd have to have like regular adverts or regular jingles. Pizza, womp, 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 pizza, womp, womp, womp. You need pizza. get I'm good for like 4 cans.
Sorry, 4 cans.
Yeah, get yourself a couple. Can you grab me a square battery as well?
Or a little,
Huh? I want 4, I think. No, give me 6. I wanted to do a radio show, but I didn't really want to do like a typical pirate kind of show. I just felt that there was maybe another slot for something kind of that ilk. Try and give people like an insight into like the producers and that with the interviews. And then at the same time, like for the show tonight, we've got a mix from Code 9, which is basically like just music that he really likes. Similar to the bit where Boom Noise and me did a weapon of choice, where we just play a track that we want to play. Basically, we've got like half an hour of Code 9 just playing tunes he wants to play. Like, wanted to just have a show that played kind of from more across the board producers and that, like a bigger scale of like what's going on. We don't really like discuss like each individual tune and that. Yeah. Yeah! Bad man. Yeah. Cool, yeah? Yeah. Bad.
Hello.
The show's had a massive impact on the recycling.
I was very late coming to the scene. I mean, I had to work backwards from DMZ to discover where the roots of the sound actually came from. You know, you can probably trace it back to about 2001, which was the very beginnings of the Club Forward, which was the original pioneering forerunner of all the dubstep clubs, which took place at the Velvet Rooms in London. And you know, the dubstep sound emerged very slowly out of dark garage. So the bass lines for dubstep were constructed by the likes of Zed Bias, LB, Oris J, Steve Gurley, people like that. And the sound gradually moved forward and progressed over the next 6 years.
I think what it was is there was definitely a moodier, deeper, underground, like, sort of vibe of garage going on right then. There was all these sort of tunes going on, and I think people were sort of, they enjoyed the tempo and the step, but they wanted to kind of give it more of a moodier and sinister kind of like feel to it.
Because it was garage crowd first of all, you know, with the champagne sunglasses and all that. And then it slowly, as garage died, it sort of went into this like ghost town, because it was the crowds got smaller and smaller, and the music was getting darker as well. And then it become at one point like 6-7 months, well, no, I say a year later, going from crowds like full club to crowds of like 20, and that was when the whole thing just sort of drifted for a little while and didn't really do much until about 2005. Horsepower was prolific. Like, I used to sit in the studio with them a lot when I was younger and just sort of sit at the back and watch and just be like, that's where I got a lot of my influence from as well, to be fair. A lot of it, majority of it from Horsepower. And it was just like, they were just mad, man. It was, the majority of it's all samples, like movie samples. And it's like, then you listen back and it's like making snares out of whips and fucking just weird, and like getting bongo riffs out of some weird background soundtrack bit, and just crazy. It was literally layers and layers of film samples, and it was just like, whoa. Like,
you used to have like loads of tapes.
Yeah, bare tape. You see them all the tapes, yeah? Crazy.
Yeah, so I ain't got any weed chaps. But...
I've got a bit of weed if you really want.
Oh yeah? The Horsepower Productions, it was originally, it was a sound system that basically, you know, we operated as DJs, you know, like a number of us. I didn't start producing till, I guess, 94, 5, so we were into a lot of kind of experimental techno and some breakbeat sort of stuff around that time. Yeah, that was the thing. We planned to make garage because that's what we were playing, and that's how it progressed from there, really. We just maybe took more of an experimental look at it, to, you know, just widen it and experiment with different ideas, because it was very open. people like Skream. You know, I remember when he was starting to produce tracks using, I think it might have been using a PlayStation originally to write his tracks, you know, and he went all the way through to like professionality that he has today, you know, so. Seeing DMZ rise up from being a small thing in a bar to being a giant, like, dance in a big venue, you know. But the essential vein of it all the way through has been, you know, innovation and trying to come with a slightly different thing, you know.
Sounds of the end track right here, right now.
I got my first set of decks when I think I was 14 when I got my first set of decks, and they were shit. They were like cam belt drive pieces of shit. And then as time went by, I remember I got some direct drives and I was like, wow, these ones are fucking heavy. I went to a DJ competition, yeah. I played on Technics, I was like, what the fuck? These are so different, man. And then I just thought, right, that's it, all other decks are shit, I've got to go out and buy some Technics. So, boom. A few years later, I got an opportunity to play on Delight FM. Yeah, we started off doing a drive time show, playing fucking garage and some dark garage as well. It was mad. Some people were like, what the fuck's this? But then as time went by, we just got more and more into the sort of darker, two-stocky sort of stuff. And in the end, like, Delight had a lot of problems with the DTI and stuff like that. So we got off of that and went straight to Rinse FM. And since I've been on Rinse FM, like, it's just been mad. I've been touring the world and done a lot, man. It's been nutty.
Pirate radio station.
Broadcast from London tower blocks.
Quite high up on sort of London skyline.
We provide what I think basically the legal stations don't.
People always ask me, well, how do you get onto a frequency? How you do that? You have your engineer, you phone them up and you say, look, I want a rig, 150 watts or whatever, and can you tune it onto 99.7 for me, which was the frequency we were using. We'll go and meet him at a proper locked off place, give him the money, and he'll give you the transmitter, and then that's your job, my job, for me to go on the roof with my mates, 4 of us. We'll have to get like scaffolding poles. If the lift ain't working, you have to carry that shit all the way up to the 20th floor. And then you have to get all your scaffolding poles up together until you get it to about 30 foot, because the higher your area is, the further you get out. Height is power. With your aerials, you get like copper from, like, we have to go home base or B&Q. You get copper for about £7, 3 meters of it. And with your frequency, you have to cut your copper down to a certain measurement. If you're not on if your measurement if it's out of place, when you do install your stuff, then your stuff won't be working properly. When you drive past certain tower blocks and you see big long poles, most of them are pirate radio aerials. What we'll do for us to get access into the tower blocks, there'll be many ways. We'll go and get keys from the council people. We'll bump into the council people. We'll probably like wait there for a day and see if the councilman is coming up, like one of the caretakers, and then we'll just come in front of them and we'll be like, listen, we'll buy your keys off you. Most of them will say, oh, fuck off or whatever, piss off, or they don't want to be involved. But then you get certain caretakers where they can see what you're trying to do and they're like, all right, how much? And then you'll just buy a key off them for £100. We had a lot of problems with rival stations coming and sabotaging what we're doing. Sometimes there'll be a lift shaft and there'll be something like this, exactly like this, but what we'll do, there'll be a hole through the transmitter and we'll put a D-lock through it. But then someone will just come with an angle grinder, cut it, take it, run, and then when we hear the radio go off, it's all gone shh. We'll jump into the car, run to the block. By the time you get there, you can't even catch them. They've gone, they stole your transmitter. They probably sold it for £300. You have to have your studio separate from your TX site, because if you transmit from where your studio is, obviously detection for Ofcom to come and bust you will be piss easy. They'll just find where you are.
For me, I think vinyl and dub plates are really important. The thing is about dub plates, right? A lot of producers, they make their tunes and they burn them off the computer, and some of them will go to a dance and play them on like CD and stuff like that, yeah. And they just, then it's not good for your hearing because it hasn't been mastered properly. It's just better, like, to sort of, for me, I think, to get a CD, take it down the cutting house, master it properly, yeah, and then cut it onto vinyl or to dub plate. Wait, look, his Atch is over there. Get him on the old thingy. He's hiding. Atch is hiding.
We need some ciggies, man.
I know, yeah. I haven't got
Right,
any
what
money.
are we talking about? You're talking about animals and shit, are you?
No. Here we go. He's going to stitch me up now.
Well, you told
2008.
them about the rash, have you?
No, here we go, about this rash again. There's this fucking German magazine
Oh,
out.
it's on telly and all, fuck
There's this
me.
German magazine out. Oh yeah, no, why am I telling them that?
I told some magazine
we
about rash in Germany.
Yeah, they wrote it in the magazine. I come back in, I went out for 5 minutes, yeah, come back, and he just had this big grin on his face, and the geezer was like, should I write that in then, yeah? And
Quick, before he comes back in the room. Put it all in, it just went straight to print.
yeah, straight to print. So everyone in Germany thinks I've got a massive rash.
They caught off my cat.
I know, that's filth. That's it.
No more rashes. No more rashes. Plastic Man's got a few rashes. He's doing his polishing, look. That's not the only polishing he does. You didn't want a sensible interview, did you?
I started Bear Files in March 2006, and then in December 2006 I started the label to support the website. And then in July 2007 I started an online record shop to support both the website and the label, so everything's feeding back into itself, making sure it's all going. But the whole idea, the whole object of what I'm doing is to push new DJs and new producers, new artists out there, so they get a bit of exposure just like all the top cats really. I reckon with dubstep, a lot of people that are listening to the music or involved can hear the high quality of productions, and all music sounds better on a record. It sounds warmer because it's not digital, it's all analog. A lot of people are trying to cut to dubs or just play vinyl because it does sound a lot better.
Yeah, what's going on, Chef?
Again, still all fucking dirty and shit, man.
Yeah. Do you want some help tidying up?
No, man, to be honest with you, I'm just having a hoover up.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's cool.
I'll help you, I'll help you.
No, it's cool. It's just one of them ones where I'm like, oh yeah, fuck, we're filming. Let's get the hoover out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Chef, did you get that job sheet for us? Yeah. It's important that we distinguish between a dub plate and a master, or what mastering is. First things first, let's talk about a dub plate. I'll get one for you and show you. This is a dub plate. It's a blank acetate disc, 2 holes drilled in it. Now a dub plate is a reject master disc. For example, a 10-inch dub plate is a reject 7-inch master. So it might have a microscopic flaw, which once cut, the turntable stylus will ignore, but obviously it's no good for the manufacturing process. So the manufacturers of the acetate disc will drill a hole in it, and it's called a dub plate. This is the disc that we would use to cut a 12-inch master on. As you can see, there's already been some grooves cut in there. These are the test grooves that we would cut once we've mastered it to make sure that it sounds okay. What we're talking about here is EQ, compression, and limiting. So it's not really rocket science. CD goes in the CD player, comes out of the CD player, goes through various bits of analog equipment after it goes through the converters, goes into the desk where there's also tone controls. Wire goes around the room to the cutter amps, which control the cutter head on this machine. People assume it's got to be loud, it's got to be loud. I can make it sound as loud as anyone else if that's what you want. If you want me to make it sound loud, I can do that. It's still mastering, but that's not necessarily the be all and end all of mastering. We see it as a service for the industry because what it does is it gives the producer an opportunity to hear what his mix sounds like. Plus we can give him some instructions on what to do to the mix to try and make it sound better. The whole idea of a dub is having a track that no one else has got. As a DJ, if you choose your dubs properly, you can get a dub that will last, you know, you get a year's life out of. If you cut something that you know is going to be pressed in 2 weeks' time, well, what's the point in that? The majority of people who can listen to it in clubs. So that's why we cut it on vinyl. Vinyl sounds nice. We give it a nice EQ, we master it, make it sound as good as possible so that it sounds good in a club. The people who are at home making tracks, mastering them themselves, EQing, you know, some 18K, some piercing stuff. And then when you go into clubs, that's why people are like, every time the hi-hat comes in, it feels like someone's stabbing you with an ice pick. But it's because of those frequencies are not, you know, they're not nice to our ears. All that mastering really is putting the music in context for the end medium and making sure that the customer's happy.
Hopefully in a week I'll have the test presses, and in 3 weeks I'll have the full release with artwork and everything.
One of the most fascinating things about dubstep is that there literally are no rules whatsoever as regards drawing in different influences of sound. It's kind of like a meeting point for every conceivable different underground culture, basically. And you can, if you're a fan of techno, if you're a fan of sort of avant-garde metal, if you're a fan of old school dub sounds or whatever it may be, you will find something within dubstep that will touch you. There's a huge global family now. It's absolutely incredible that sort of congregate mainly at dubstepforum.com, which is obviously the main message board there. But it's absolutely wonderful to see the way that these communities interact, you know. And if there's, say if there's going to be a dance in Amsterdam, there'll be all kinds of people who've never actually met each other before, but they'll be speaking about, should we get together and travel to this dance together? You know, it's just amazing to see that this community has been drawn together because of a pure love of sound.
Holland at the moment, arrived about an hour ago, and we're heading on the train to Amsterdam, and we're going to be going to the very first Deep Medi night, showcasing all the Deep Medi artists. Here we go. Dub play, and that one's Bear Dubs number 3, test press. That one's white label.
Dames en heren, goedenavond. Over enkele ogenblikken station Amsterdam Centraal en bestelling van deze trein. Het volgende station Amsterdam Centraal.
Yeah, sound system's big, big rooms, Deep Medi night, it's a metal bag, right there, it's a big night, man. Look at that. Oh, is it? They bad. Not too much. Not smoke more in there. No, that's what I want to go in there.
Vibes all night, man. Lots of people travelling from all over. It was a real nice vibe, real nice energy in the room, man. It was real nice. Yeah.
Not only have you got everyone from Amsterdam and Holland here, you've got people from London who've all made the effort to come over, and that's like just to show the extent the music means to us. And it's just like to have a night like this in another country where 4 or 5 years ago it was like an empty forward. It's just incredible. When I'm more sober, I'm better.
There's people coming together again, you know what I mean, through sound, just making an effort to get in a positive vibe. And, it's been deep tonight, I've really enjoyed it.
There was kind of squelch. So I don't really do tracks that sound like that, but I can if I want. With music, with making music, I never feel totally in control of what I'm doing or what I end up with. It certainly never comes out like I quite intended it. I'm literally interested in the power of sound to move people. I mean, that's the most recent weapon. It's a Moog Voyager. And it's just, there's a lot of stuff you can do with it that I haven't even got close to yet. It's got 3 oscillators, so you can really get stuff that's completely out of tune. And it's got a really good bass. It's got a really good sub. So that's, I don't know if you've ever heard any of the kind of music that we make, that's just perfect.
In a way, I still kind of like get to kind of everything still to sink in really, like what happened last night. So it's just got crazy to just like to think through sound. You know what I mean? Like people just make the effort and come together, and so it's just, you know what I mean, great to be involved. You know, I'm really tired. I haven't had much sleep over the past few days. So yeah, I'm kind of feeling it now. But you know, sun's out. My family's here, so yeah, we're just going to enjoy the last afternoon. My friends are going home in a little bit. I think we're going to go to Rotterdam tonight and check out what's going on down there, and then we're home tomorrow morning. So it's going to have been a really nice weekend. Yeah, I've had a great time.
City's quiet. You know how London, right? Anywhere you are in London, even if you're deep suburbs, you hear things. You're hearing like a bus. It was like you could hear a pin drop when we were walking around. It's very, very strange, you know? Very, very strange.
I love the fact that, you know, the music that I'm really into and I want to spread, it's like you can just take the party away from home. You know what I mean?
It's funny because Hijack and I had both been to Metalheads. I mean, the one time I was in London in '97, I got to see Metalheads at Blue Note.
We're at Blue Note, yeah.
And that was the thing that was kind of what we were reflecting on, is that energy then. And we'd both been there. And then the energy last night in the room and the energy that you guys get at GNZ, it's the same thing, it's the same thread. And that's 10 years of music. Different things.
Sending me tunes since when Hyper Dub was just a web magazine. He's literally touched a nerve with people. Apart from all these techniques, which sound quite unique. You know, the way he used crackle initially, and the kind of syncopation he had, and the way his beats were kind of broken. They didn't hold together; they kept falling apart. He's managed to press people's buttons, and then what's intensified that is the fact that there's no face to put with the music. It wasn't intended like that, he just didn't want his pictures taken. It's not a big, contrived marketing plan.
There was a real flashpoint around about the end of 2005, sort of beginning of January 2006, where it really felt that the producers had found their feet. That there was a sense of momentum gathering within the scene as well, and that's something that my show on Radio 1, that's where we really seriously began to document it with programmes like Dubstep Wars, etc. But Dubstep Wars was a Radio 1 programme that I put together in January of 2006, and the idea was to capture something of the spirit and the energy and the momentum that I could see building within the dubstep scene. We did find it that night, I think, between all of us. And the MCs, I've got to say, Crazy D was involved, Sergeant Pokes, the Space Ape, as well as the DJs who played. We had voices from all kinds of different people who were involved internationally, everybody from Dave Q, who runs Dub War in New York, to Bruno Bellamino, who's the big dubstep pusher out in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
So we make some free parties in the street. We don't charge people to enter in the party because we really want to make the sound spread. I always say that dubstep is a very specific kind of music because you have to feel the sub bass in the dance floor. To hear dubstep in headphones is shit. You have to feel this music live. You can construct tracks that are really kind of weapons that you use to make people feel alive in the dance floor.
Tonight, I think the plan is to head across, get on the train to Rotterdam, where there's another party going down. There's a few of the guys who've come over are going to spin some records, just going to be inside. I think Braden, I might do a little bit. And I think it's just like, you know, because everyone was coming over, they thought sort something out and have a little bit of a party on the Saturday as well. And you know, we've got nothing better to do, so we may as well head over to Rotterdam and play some records out there as well. We're outside now, yeah.
I was going to roll the split. Or maybe I shouldn't. I've got to. Oh, I've got to have another one.
Okay.
You turned 30.
Alex, how do I make the start?
5. It's going to be a go.
It's boom noise and post.
I'm ready.
Yes, welcome to another edition of the Boom Noise and Talk Show.
Greetings, mister. Sorry, mate. I got all excited.
You're all over the place.
I just wanted to say greetings to you.
You've got your fancy new wireless microphone.
It's not that new.
Well,
I just don't bring it out. It's why it still looks shiny.
Certainly fancy.
Yeah, that was an international jam. It's been a week for international jams, Boom.
Certainly has. Out everyone reached Deep Medi in Amsterdam.
Silliness. That was silly.
Out everyone who's never going to be the same again.
Have you announced what's going on tonight?
No, not yet. Yes, just a reminder, coming up on the show tonight we've got a special guest mix from Code 9 and the Space Echo.
Massive.
We have got Kevin Bug in for an interview, Bugman.
Massive.
And we've got Goth-Trad live in the studio. Massive.
Fucking massive.
We've got Bug in the building.
It's another big gathering we got tonight. A lot of family in the room.
Yeah, now I'd like to welcome the Bug to the studio. So how was it that you first picked up on dubstep?
Through Code 9.
Through Code 9.
Code 9 interviewed me just after Pressure came out.
Right.
For Accelerator, I think it was. And he just said, look, I've got some friends who are producing music that I think you'd like.
Yeah.
They sort of share things in common with what you're doing. Come and check it out. And he brought me down to Forward about, I guess it was about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just got to meet Mala, Pokes, Loafer, and obviously Code. So yeah.
So when you first heard the sound, what was your initial reaction?
I liked it. I liked the intensity. I liked the depth of it. I liked the weight of it. I liked the fact that each producer seemed to have its own voice.
Handing you over to the man Goth-Trad.
Big up Goth-Trad, man.
Backward people, reading stories.
Sounds the Goth-Trad live in mix called Boom Noise and Folk Show. Make some noise in the studio, guys. Join us back in 2 weeks where we'll be here again doing a similar sort of thing in the shambolic sort of style yet again.
Let's get some bass going. The thing for us to do in Denmark is promoting the UK sound, which we are really keen on. Denmark as a club scene in general is very influenced by especially Germany, Berlin, Cologne, stuff like that. If you look upon English urban music history from, let's say, 88 acid house music upon hardcore, early breakbeat, onto jungle, onto speed garage. If you go into two-step, you go into grime, you go into dubstep, sub-low, etc. It's just been mutating and mutating and mutating and fusing a lot of styles. It hasn't been like nationally or geographically narrowed down to a specific kind of country. I know it originated from England, but it's just been like progressing all over, and especially Europe and the States at the moment. To know the guys in Finland, in Sweden, Elvis, and you know some guys in Finland, especially Tesla Rock. And what he's done, as far as I'm concerned, compared to any other guys, maybe except for Matty G in the States, he's made the UK producers and DJs and radio hosts, whatever, aware of a sound that is UK sounding, but it's not from the UK, it's not orientated in London or whatever, it's from Finland. I mean, they hardly heard of Denmark, I'm sure they haven't heard of Finland before either.
It's just like when Finnish people freak out to some music, they go mad. Because it has to be something to do with our weather or something. Because you know, like winter time, it's like dark for 6 months, seriously. So basically, you just have to have something to freak out. Like, because like your parties are sick, and the vibe is still like really positive. No, because like normally like Finnish people when they go out partying, it's like a little bit like, you know, fighting and stuff like that. But like we have positive vibes. But with the dubstep, when I heard it first time, 2005, it brought me back all these feelings and memories from drum and bass or jungle music. You know, all the big bass lines, deep atmospheres, and like lots of room. You know, that's the thing with the drum and bass. Nowadays, there's no room. Too much stuff going on, you know, no space between the beats. And when I heard the dubstep, I was like, it was the lo-fi and Malawi got me into dubstep, man. That's the one thing actually I forgot about saying, but with the dubstep, it's all about social thing, you know what I mean? Like, to me, like I like to go record stores instead of buying online, because I like to socialize with people. And same thing with going like a transition. It's all about like meeting LD, Jason, Jeff, you know, instead of like doing all online. And with the doublets, it's also like, it's sort of like it's good test for the sound systems, because like I've been like maybe a month ago I got the dubs from Transition. I went to play them out and I was like, oh man, what's wrong with these dub plates? But it wasn't wrong with the dub plates, it was wrong with the sound system, you get me?
Дабстеп – новомодный стиль электронной музыки, корнями уходящий в даб. Я не знаю точно, сколько пришло народу, но кричали и хлопали они так, как будто бы здесь целый стадион. Мне очень понравилось. На моем лейбле это Burial. Burial – это парень из Южного Лондона, который в 2001 году послал...
It's my pride and joy. Yeah, it's a circuit bent speak and spell. I've used it in one track. This is a I used it in one track that I did. I started with this producer called Flying Lotus, hip hop producer. Yeah. Well, I think, you know, the minute you're involved in producing music, you take control over your local sound space. You know, the minute you're making sounds, instead of just being a passive victim of your environment, you actually start to carve out a little territory in your environment. And so I think that's why with a lot of kids it's so empowering to do music in an otherwise shit, depressed situation. I'm just finishing a book about sonic warfare, which should come out next year. And really it's about the relationship between sound and power. The way sound is used as a vibrational force to either disperse populations or bring populations together. You know, whether it be the use of infrasound or very high frequency sound to make people feel uncomfortable and used in crowd control situations, or, you know, obviously as we know, like use of bass and sound system culture to actually bring crowds together. The way sound can function like a magnet like that, it can literally just attract people, and particularly, like obviously the music I make, particularly the way sub bass has that kind of magnetic effect.
Yeah, I locked myself in the studio for the last few weeks, tried to get a load of ideas down onto the tracks and that, and now I just got to spend another week or so finishing off the bits, get the mix down, then hopefully go transition, cut them to dub, start playing them out. But because I've been doing all that, I haven't really been on the internet a lot or worked on the website or updated the mixes or anything, so slacking a bit, but yeah, I'll get back on top of it, get everything rolling nicely. I'm trying to make it possible for artists to get as much exposure as possible by linking to their MySpaces or hosting their mixes for free, and trying to get the mixes out there and get people to hear it and know what people are doing, what each DJ is doing or producer and that. Time to take a little trip into soul jazz.
Welcome to my heart and soul, and the warmth of my body.
The Ramadan man and the Cotton. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, I gave them quite a few records and they sold out, so I might need to restock them. If I was to name a few people I'm feeling at the moment, definitely name Mala. Let me think. Skream as well to an extent. Chrome Star as well, Sessman. And just the Medi side of dubstep. So I like a lot of Loafer as well, because it's quite minimal. Oh, look at that, they got one. Yeah, they got that in stock. Wicked. Since Deep Medi and Damn, I've just been producing a lot of tracks, really. Staying in the studio. Sometimes when I can, working on bare files. But that's mainly all I do. Just sit around, play a bit of Grand Theft Auto, and make beats. I know I've got a booking in Brussels in October though, so I'm looking forward to that one. Hopefully have some dub plates cut for them and play all those tunes. Yeah, man. Dubstep, in a way, it is a fresh sound because whatever music you're into, for example, metal or classical or reggae or whatever, you know, house, techno, those influences are put into dubstep, and then that's made into its own sound in a way, if that makes sense. Even though it's all based on having a big bass line, a nice deep bass, and all around 140 BPM. Those are the only real markers. The future of dubstep, it's already happening now, where a lot of people will hear the sound and assume it's just the wobble bass line or something, and that it will get quite stereotypical and then start sounding all the same, just how drum and bass did. It started all variations of the beats and different sounds and new influences and that, but then it kind of, in my opinion, in the last few years, it's gotten quite stale and everything sounds very similar, and they're just doing it over and over again, the same thing. And I think even in dubstep now that's happening, but there are a few producers out there who are breaking away and doing some very different stuff. It's new stuff that keeps the whole scene moving, I'd say, and keeps people like myself interested, who've been there from quite early on and heard the variations and heard the progression of the scene.
Are you people still lively? Is there still some energy around the room? Well, that's what we come to see. Digital Mystics, Loafer, myself, Sarge Pokes from London, representing DMZ. So we just come to see the people dancing. So who's ready for some dancing? Well, that's just fine.